The next one that we have is a. Hold on, let me try to fix this over here. This next one might be a reason for you to actually leave the house, just so you don't have to see this on your Netflix account. We have a movie that is fixing comedy. You know, they say comedy out there is just not the same as it used to.
Nope.
And that's probably
Not
just
with the
because the
woke
comedy
left.
is not the same as they used to.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't care if you right or left. This just straight down dookie sometimes.
Yep.
Unfrosted, a Pop-Tart story. Is that the full name, or is it just Unfrosted? Am I just adding?
It's just Unfrosted.
Oh, it's just
yeah.
Unfrosted. Oh, okay. We cut in the SEO there. What do you call this? Because this isn't our BlackBerry. This isn't
like
Air.
I think in a better world, this would have been the scary movie for those company biopics, the corpo biopics. Like, this could have been a movie that makes fun of the Tetrises and the Blackberries and even like social networks and WeWorks and stuff like that. Instead, it is like partially the Pop-Tart story, but done with a bunch of like absurdist silly comedy. And you know, I'm a fan of absurdist silly comedy, but it's very dry. And I mean, you know, I don't know. I think my main reaction is I just don't know who the hell this movie is for, right? Like, a lot of the humor feels pitched at boomer era people because the references are so like space race, milkmen delivering milk, Jack LaLanne showing up, like who under 50 like
doing it as a
laughs
meme,
at something like that. Yeah. But then it's got this kind of modern zippiness and cynicism to it, the way that they sort of like talk about corporate culture. There's a whole like January 6th sequence in there. Yet the humor is really base level, and like the references are to like children's cereal mascots. Like I've settled on this is a movie for like a hyper literate preteen in 1975. Like, I just don't understand the Venn diagram of interests where someone would find all of this to be very funny. Some of it is funny. I laughed a couple times. A lot of it is not funny.
Is it? That must be the wackest test audience ever. He probably did like a Larry David jury thing, like nope, until he got like a very specific crew. He's like, now they like it.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. It's supposed to be the story of Kellogg's and how they came up with the Pop-Tart, but more so that they didn't come up with the Pop-Tart. They were just the first to brand it better. Where are the jokes with that? Like, that's a funny theme. There's so much to like in the movie. This man hired every comedian under the sun. I was perplexed by how many cameos, dude.
Anybody that you thought was funny between 5 to 30 years ago is in this movie.
There's some recent ones. Don't get it twisted. I like some of the people who were there. Snap, Crackle, and Pop were funny.
Literally, those were the three exceptions. Those were the three exceptions.
Oh, man.
Shout out Drew Tarver.
Shout out him, dude. I could not believe it, bro. I was like, damn, they didn't tell you. You just heard it was your idol and you showed up.
Yep.
That sucks, dude. They have one cameo that I don't want to spoil from a series that I haven't, like, fully gotten into yet, but I respect the hell out of. How'd you feel, dude, seeing that?
I mean,
because that man also wants to be a comedian.
Right. I mean, it's like when you watch a Super Bowl commercial and it's like, oh, they really needed that much money? They really needed to take this gig? I mean,
and it's worse because they played the characters.
Level, right?
Yeah. Overall, it is supposed to be this competition between what's her name, who's from Post, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Amy Schumer runs Post, and Jerry Seinfeld plays an executive at Kellogg's, and they are competing over the next innovation in breakfast goods. And then,
like Zach mentioned, there's the Milk Mafia. And then there's Chef Boyardee.
Right.
And then there's Space Race.
He was funny recently.
And then JFK being played by Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Look, there's a lot that they throw at this movie. A lot of the references, like you're mentioning, are stuff that'll make you go like, oh, they mentioned Tang. That's crazy. I used to drink Tang. Like that's the whole bit of how the movie's written.
Yeah, it's too obvious with a lot of the jokes that's playing, and it'd be like, it might be more funny if you're aren't used to watching comedies. Like, that's why I keep going back to, is this a movie for kids despite its PG-13 rating? Because like I can imagine being kids like, oh yeah, they're talking about Tang. Like, that if you have a child's mind, maybe that's clever. Here it just it feels really played out. It just doesn't really hit.
You had mentioned the January 6th thing, which to me, you know, I went into it and I'm like, yeah, many times, you know, we come into comedies and we have all of these biases or whatever it is, right? And I know when he vented about it, what we were talking about was Jerry Seinfeld coming out and pretty much acknowledging that what's his name is funnier than he is. But he was also going on this whole rant that comedy isn't the same because of politics. So then he imbues politics in it in a way where it's like, okay, you just want to use the imagery. Hey, I'm always offended on only one thing. If it ain't funny, that's the most offensive thing. That's just boring.
I mean,
but then does he not tie it in? Like in the end credits, he then says something that's like very political, and I'm like, so you don't want to play politics, you just want to use the imagery. The imagery ain't funny, and then at the end you're still gonna do like a political stance. That's corny in three ways.
Right. Yeah. Like he's preaching against the thing that he himself is using, and it's so odd too to come from Seinfeld, from all people, talking about like the way that politics has ruined comedy. Seinfeld is like the least political comedian I can think about. His show is famously called a show about nothing. Like there's almost no stance you can take on Seinfeld. Like there's no joke in Seinfeld that, or barely any jokes that I feel like don't hold up because of like political correctness or woke culture or whatever have you.
Yeah.
He's just like, I feel like he's feeling his age. He's feeling his lack of, you know, finger on the pulse. Making movies about Pop-Tarts and stuff, like it's just you lost your fastball. And it's okay that Larry David still got his.
That's true. Hey, that's the best factor of it. Like you can literally go watch the better version of all of these jokes over with Curb Your Enthusiasm that just wrapped up. A couple of questions here. Unfrosted versus Flamin' Hot. Gonna finally get you to give some praise to Flamin' Hot. Still probably had more lies than this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's similar in that I did laugh a little bit at Flamin' Hot, so it's not like Unfrosted's got a
heart
beat
there
in that
too,
category.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still romance, some family at least within that movie that Unfrosted was just weird at points. There's a certain point where Jim Gaffigan and Amy Schumer start flirting, and I'm like, how did we get here? Why did we get here? The second one, We Crash, is the one to scare WeWork. Oh, I thought this was a question, but We Crash would be another one.
Yeah, I think I might have said the wrong title or something with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know. This one felt a lot like when you're watching one of the forgettable SNL sketches, and like there's a couple jokes in there, but you realize, like, you can see in the actors' faces, they know this doesn't entirely work, but they got to get through it. They got to finish.
They're doing it for Seinfeld. Like,
yeah.
Come on. We would too. Like, yeah, Seinfeld's directing a movie. I'd show up for that as well. I don't think it's great. Have it on in the background. It's very colorful. A lot of goofy jokes there. It's short too, I guess. It's 97 minutes, but in terms of a solid movie, I can't give it that. It feels like an early 2000s movie, like a disaster movie.
Yeah, it really belongs on funnyordie.com. Like, if anything.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Not the best, but that is Unfrosted, playing on Netflix. Let us know your thoughts down below.